Welcome back to another video. I'm back with my dad,
What's going on?
and we are still here, back nine of the first round of the St. Jude's doubles, and still me and Dad and Frank and Jonathan.
Good luck.
Here we are on hole 10 of our tournament, but hole 11 of the course, and this is a long par 4, and it's got a pretty tricky green at the end. A lot of people throw a roller, turnover backhand, or a forehand off the tee.
Still dealing with a lot of wind here, and you're going to see here in just a second, we're about to step out of the woods into the open, and the wind is going to be even more of an issue. So.
And this back nine is going to be very tricky with the wind and the cold we had to deal with today.
So Jonathan at least got them out there where they can approach and have a decent shot at a 3, which would be a birdie here.
I don't know if Frank was trying to throw a turnover or a roller, but it turned over too much and hit the tree.
Like I say, the wind is just really ripping at this point.
Yeah, you threw something decently overstable, and it just did not ever think about flexing.
I threw a villain, and it's pretty beat in for a villain, but it just kept going. It looked like it was completely understable.
Yeah, I'm throwing an overstable hurricane, and this is my worst flick of the day by a long shot.
You looked happy about it.
Yeah, I was pretty thrilled. This is where we ended up. Did we take mine or yours? I don't know. They were pretty close. I know.
We took mine because we just made the assumption it was further, and it probably was by 20 or 30 feet, but it was right beside this tree, and we had no chance to really look at a birdie because we could not walk up to throw.
Yeah, I decided to go with a straight Hellfire, one of my flippier ones, and I'm going standstill flick. I don't know. This is not an easy shot at all. That's 2 bad flicks for me on this hole.
So the last one was your worst flick of the day, so that was the second worst?
It's definitely in the top 3.
So here they are trying to get up under the basket. They're hoping for a 3 here. This really is, in normal conditions, a pretty easy birdie. But with this wind, discs just aren't quite doing what you'd think they would be.
Yeah, I think Frank is going with a flippy aftershock here. And out of his hand, I thought it was perfect, but it just kept turning. And it's pretty short and really a hard shot from there.
Definitely, he got over behind some trees. You can't really see the basket, but the basket is up there behind those trees to the right, and Jonathan ends up pretty close to where Frank is, I think. So
yeah, I didn't see that shot. I couldn't.
If you can see the telephone pole, just look to the right about 30 feet, and that's where the basket is, tucked back inside those trees. You still can't exactly see it from here. If we zoomed in, you probably could. When I let go of this disc, I thought this was perfect, and it just died. That was an A2.
Yeah, probably should have thrown a quake there.
I don't know what makes you think a quake would be the right thing there, just because you've got your name on this one?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, so I did pull out a quake here and throw it wider. I corrected off his line.
And boom, you hit the basket. So a quake definitely was the right thing.
I thought that was going in for sure.
It absolutely looked like it was about to skip in, and we would have only gotten a birdie out of it, but that was a great shot.
You can see it.
So we've got a drop-in par.
You sounded pretty excited there, huh?
Well, it was exciting for a drop-in par.
Yeah. Here's Frank. This is a lot harder shot than it looks like. He's throwing a little breaker up, and he throws that really well. You got to go under those limbs. And if you end up to the right of the basket, you're on a cliff with no putt.
And if you end up too long, same cliff, same putt. So it is touchy.
Jonathan gives that a really good run with all he could do. I mean, it's going to be 2 pars, so we're going to be a little disappointed, but the almost throw in made me feel a little better.
Yeah, we have already gotten a couple holes maybe that you don't expect to get, but we've also had a couple holes you want to get and we didn't. So we'll blame the weather and the wind.
Yeah, 6 and 7 down. That's not terrible, but
this is a little island green. You can see you go across that creek and you have to land in the grass.
I thought he threw that perfect.
And it's OB.
Yeah, that is out of bounds. If you see the rocks, those are all out of bounds. And there's a road about 20 feet past the basket. The island gets thinner the more left you go. So if you hang it out towards that tree on the right, you're way safe, but not an easy putt.
Normal conditions, Frank was under the basket, but the wind is just blowing left to right. Jonathan does get them safely on the green, though.
What are you throwing here?
I threw that same A2 that didn't work the last time, and OB.
I'm throwing the Quake again. It seems like whenever you throw the A2 bad, I feel like you should just throw the Quake.
Well, it's looking that way.
You can see me dropping those hand warmers. I kept hand warmers this entire round. And even in the second round, it was really cold.
I think you have more of a routine than Chris Dickerson's got right here.
I was a little nervous after you going out of bounds there. I really just wanted to be in bounds, and then I thought I aced it.
Yeah, we both ended up with pretty decent looks for 2, so.
Yeah, they're about 25 feet here. The camera makes all these putts look way shorter than they are. I remember them being about 25. And again, we are dealing with a lot of wind. It doesn't, I mean, I don't know. It was a lot of wind here. It was a really good putt from John.
Yeah, definitely.
Good save.
We have a routine when we play doubles. Caleb and I play a bunch of doubles rounds together, and I always putt first, and that was a great little nothing putt for me right there, inside the bullseye almost.
He told me he'd make all our 30-footers if I made all the bullseye putts, so that works out well for me.
I think there's one more of those as we go on.
So after hole 11, we're 7 down, they're 8 down. That's not too bad. This is a shorter par 5 that can be eagled in no wind or the right wind maybe, but not in a massive headwind, and unfortunately that's what we have here.
Yeah, we stepped up to this just with the goal of birdie. Like Caleb said, we'd be hoping for an eagle in normal conditions, but no way in these conditions can you throw such a flippy disc to try to get that type of distance. So.
I actually think it was a little bit of right to left headwind, so you kind of had to throw something overstable but hanging out wide. And Frank throws a really overstable hurricane, but he does not hanging out wide, and he's just way out of bounds.
Fortunately, Jonathan's in, so they're good, but they're definitely looking at a birdie now at that point.
Yeah, Frank wasn't very happy about that shot. He still wanted the eagle for sure. You're throwing that villain again?
I think so, and I threw it okay. I throw it on a notch of hyzer, it flips up flat, and ends up pretty good. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at, and that gives you the opportunity to really go for it.
I don't know what the wind was doing, because I threw a torrent here, and I would never throw that in any kind of headwind that I thought. I mean, it obviously was a headwind. It flipped all the way over, but...
Yeah, the wind was sort of whipping around. It's hard to tell. It changed, but yeah, that turned it over. It never came back, so... Rare on a distance drive that it looks like we might take my drive over yours, but anyway.
Yeah, you have me about 30 or 40 here. I don't know what Jonathan's throwing, but it flipped all the way over. I don't know how many times I'm going to say there was a lot of wind, but... So Frank's pulling out a Hellfire just to be really safe. This is a lighter weight Hellfire he's trying to beat in. It's still really overstable, though. That was a good shot. He's just laying up, trying to give him an easy birdie. He did what he was supposed to.
Yeah, great shot by Frank. I mean, that's what you need here. At that point, you just go for the easy birdie. And I threw a really nice shot if the fairway was on the other side of the creek. I threw a defender, thought it would work just about like Frank's Hellfire. It did, but I threw it about 30 feet too far left, so.
Yeah, so I'm throwing a Hellfire just like Frank does, trying to be safe, and I threw it just how I wanted to.
Yeah, our hope was that you would be able to sort of go for that, but there was just no reason to risk it at that point. Good shot.
So I think Frank's pulling out his go-to breaker, pretty overstable, throws on a hyzer, and he puts it within the circle, I think, about 25 feet. Decent shot.
Yeah, it was a good shot. Still amazed that the one guy from up north who's dealt with snow and everything is the one guy wearing a toboggan, right?
I was wearing a toboggan.
Oh, you were wearing a toboggan. Okay, well.
But I've never dealt with cold. I don't like cold. That was not a very good shot from Jonathan, but there was, I mean, I don't know how many times I'm going to say there was so much wind, but there was a lot of wind, and that just got away from him, I think.
You just wouldn't have seen several of those shots without the wind.
We missed our upshot there, but I put it under the basket with a quake, and I think you were within 20, so.
Yeah, we both had decent shots. I think our camera girl was taking a picture of a mushroom at the time. So
She has a tendency to do that. That was not a very good putt from Frank. That's unusual. I just expect him to make that, but
yeah, they weren't happy with the par there. That's a hole you have to birdie. But they've still got a great round going. It's just one of those holes, sort of like hole 7 way back on the front that we missed. So we're back tied up again here, 8 under apiece.
that was the tail end of Dad's drive right there. She didn't get that. Dad has this thing that he does called no warm up or anything. He just kind of walks up and throws, and she didn't know, I guess. But it was, how far do you think you were?
I was down the hill, probably a little bit outside circle, but we had a good look at it from there. So
I'm throwing an overstable torrent, and that's another flick that's going to be in my top 3 worst ones. That's probably the 3 right there that you've seen. That was a terrible flick.
yeah, you know, the crazy thing is you flicked really well during this tournament, except for those 3 shots that looked like it was the first time you'd ever flicked.
That was really, it just stalled out way high, nose up. Just about everything bad that could have happened. I mean, it was a good bit out of bounds.
Good little safe shot by Jonathan up there. He put him up there at least putting at it.
Frank is pulling out a glow beadless steady. This is his go-to generally. And I think we had a left to right wind here, so he could actually throw the putter in the open. He throws that perfectly. I thought he made it.
I mean, that floated right under the basket and had to miss the pole by. In fact, if I recall, it hit an acorn, which hit the pole.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we heard that from them. So we're 45 here up the hill.
It wasn't bad. I mean, it's a par.
Yeah, the wind was just so hard to throw a putter nose up. Somebody needed to lay up.
I gave it a pretty awful run. You can hear me say, I hope you're parked. He was, thankfully.
And you could see Frank hit that acorn, apparently skipped a little bit, but they've got a good little comeback here.
I was really shocked to see him miss that.
There we go, good 2.
Yeah, that's a really good 2 to get because it's not as easy as you think it is. I really liked the flick there, and I was pretty confident in it. I just threw it pretty bad. I should have thrown a hurricane, not a torrent, and thrown it better.
So they went back ahead of us. They're 9 down. We're 8 down through 13 holes.
This is I mean, it's definitely a par 4 distance, but it's not a very long par 4. I think it's 650 maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Definitely a hole that you want to get. And as you can see, we're still dealing with wind.
I don't know if he's trying to throw a roller or an air shot. He threw a nuke, and I don't really know much about that, but he put it in birdie range. No matter, if you can get 300 feet down the fairway, you're in birdie range.
Yeah, definitely. You're halfway there, basically. So they're in a decent shot there. Frank's going to try to crush one.
He doesn't. He does not crush one. He throws a slightly overstable torrent and just throws it too low.
We should mention that's the first shot that he's thrown without a toboggan on, so that may have been the issue.
And maybe that was it.
I
It's probably all the toboggan.
And I'm just trying to put one in the middle so you can try to go for it, which I'm successful. I'm down there near where Jonathan is, so.
I'm going with that torrent, and I really thought this was going to flip all the way over and ride, and it just did not. And I thought I threw it out of bounds, but I mean, we'll have to see. Here's Frank. I think he's trying to go really big hyzer. This would be a huge shot. And he just clips that pole, but it keeps going.
Yeah, I think he actually hit one of the wires that is connected there by the pole, and it just absolutely kept going. He ends up a little bit outside circle 1, but Jonathan's comfort shot is a flick. He's got a good backhand, but he loves the flick. He's smooth, and
that was a good shot. I think he maybe threw it a little nose up. It came up a little short, but
You actually were inbounds.
barely inbounds. You threw a felon right there?
Yes, sir. And pretty close.
I'm going to pull out that Quake again. I've thrown it pretty well this round so far. It's kind of a go-to approach disc. And I'm just going to take the flick, maybe try to throw it in if I can. Definitely not going in, but we're both parked, so that's good.
Yep.
Give us easy birdies.
Yeah, we need to get one back, so.
Here they are trying to get a birdie. Just a little low. I don't really remember what wind we had here. I was surprised he came up short though. Here's Jonathan trying to get them a birdie. I think he missed just a little right. But here you are going to drop us in a birdie. Going to give us one back on them. That's going to tie us up. Going into course hole number 16, round hole number 15.
Yeah, it was a good little hole for us. And again, the wind has been up all day. It's starting to get a little bit better now, but this is a fun little hole. There's basically one line. I throw a legacy rival here, which is sort of like a T-bird, and put us inside the circle.
Yeah, I was happy with that shot, really, because this one's weird. You want to throw a hyzer, something that really kind of flips up, but then just kind of fades. I don't know, but I threw an aftershock and just yanked it way long and right. So we're going to end up taking yours.
Yeah, we're not in a bad shape though. We're inside the circle, putting. You got 2 putts inside the circle. You ought to make one of them.
Yeah. I don't know what Jonathan's pulling out here. Maybe a Firebird? I don't know. I have no idea. I couldn't tell what that did, or I know Frank's pulling out a breaker though, because you told me not to throw a breaker, and then you told Frank to throw what I didn't throw or something like that.
Yeah, that's how it worked. And then Frank threw it, and it looks good.
Yeah, he throws the breaker because it'll slightly flip up for him. That's a pretty beat-in pro line, and then it'll fade.
So here we are, inside circle, probably 25-ish feet, and I just laid it up apparently. Worst putt of the day for me, probably inside the circle.
Yeah, this will give me a chance to actually putt. I haven't putted much this round.
Yeah, in my mind I'm saying, Caleb, please make it. Caleb, please make it. Caleb, please make it.
Yeah, in casual rounds I may be a little more confident. I was a little nervous about this putt because I haven't putted the entire round, but I made it. So.
Yep, good putt. We needed it too.
Yeah, they're pretty parked. That's a great shot on this hole.
Absolutely. 2 birdies. Short hole. It does have a little tight line, so it's good to see 2 birdies there.
That's going to put us both at double digits going into our hole number 16 or course hole number 17. I don't remember what you threw here. Is that a Havoc?
That is a Havoc, and it just ended up well outside circle. So
I'm flicking that Torrent. This one's pretty overstable, so I can trust it in some wind, but I throw it way too hard.
maybe just a little wide too. It did fade back, so but we're edge of circle.
Yeah, I wasn't mad about the shot really. Just a little too hard, way too wide.
Here goes Jonathan. He's always got a good flick. I feel like anytime it's a flick hole around 300 feet, Jonathan's going to be inside the circle.
Yeah, I think this one's 330. Is that
Yeah,
right?
something like that. Just let go of it probably a little bit too early. He is edge of circle, but off to the right. You'd probably rather be over on the other side putting. There's less danger you're putting towards.
Frank's going with that Proline Hellfire again, throwing for a hyzer, and it's a really good shot.
Absolutely.
I thought it was a little short out of his hand, but I was wrong.
Well, that's a pretty beat-in Hellfire. So here we are, edge of circle, maybe a little bit outside.
That's a really good putt.
I felt confident putting all day, and that was just one that we were able to get. So we needed it for sure.
Yeah, because they got a pretty easy little putt here. We need to keep up with them.
2 good twos. You'll take that anytime in a doubles match. So that puts us both at -11 after 16 holes. Headed to our 17th hole, hole number 18 on Probst Park.
I'm throwing a really flippy torrent. I can kind of throw this one flat and it'll just turn over into a roller. And I'm trying to just play up the hill. I mean, I'm fine with being on the edge of that hill, and that's going to give you a good chance to really kind of go for the eagle here.
Discs don't normally roll uphill that much, but the way the wind was blowing, it just made it. I absolutely pulled it. It rolls up the hill into the road, and while it's rolling, a car hits it. That disc will never be thrown
You
again.
really should have put a picture of the disc in here. I actually threw that disc after the round just for fun, and it hyzer flips into a roller now. So
I didn't ever like that disc anyway.
I don't know what he threw here. I don't know if he's going for roller or not. That's not really a bad shot, though. I mean, any shot here, if you're even just 300 feet up the fairway, you still should get a birdie. This is a pretty soft par 5.
You halfway believe that he's throwing a beadless steady, but you know he's not on this long hole. So
He probably could and still birdie it. That's a torrent, though. He tries to play on that hill as well, and he does. He's about 30 feet past me. And so we're going to try to get maybe in some putting range. I don't know.
yeah, goofy footing, but not the worst place to be.
It's also a little wet today, too. I didn't mention that earlier, but you'll see on this throw.
I wanted to pull mine a little bit more towards the road, but having just rolled one up into the road, that I was a little timid.
I throw a pretty overstable hurricane here, and I throw it on a huge ante right into the ground, just kind of slip on my walk up, but we got a pretty easy birdie from where you are.
Yeah, this is could be eagled, especially in a doubles round. Has to be birdied kind of hole, so our eagle is sort of out.
Frank's throwing a really overstable hurricane on a slight flex, and that's going to give them a pretty good eagle putt.
Yeah, they're probably 50 feet away from the basket for eagle. That's great.
Maybe a little closer. Oh, that's a really good shot. I don't know what Jonathan's throwing here. This may be that Wraith he's been throwing. He gets the full flat out of his disc. It goes a little too far right, but he throws a good throw.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely trying to really power one up there since Frank was already that close.
What did you throw here?
I threw a quake.
All right, so you finally threw the quake.
Finally threw a quake. Threw a great shot with it. So
I'm throwing a breaker, trying to maybe throw one in since he's pretty close, and I almost did, and then hit that tree. And who's closer?
drop in birdie. You're closer. So apparently now you're telling me the quake was the wrong disc, the breaker's the right disc. So
Yeah.
I can't win for losing. So this is how close Frank got them. This is an eagle putt. Yeah, it is inside of 50. It's outside the circle. It looks like it's inside, but it's not. It's outside the circle.
Yeah, the camera always makes the putts look closer than they are. That was a really good run from him.
I mean, he was 3 inches higher, and that's dead center chains.
Frank, I know, really wanted to eagle this because nothing against Jonathan. He played the hole very well, but this would have been an eagle only by Frank's shots, even though Jonathan threw really good shots in the hole. And he thought he hit it, and I did too.
Yeah, great run, but they're going to have a drop-in 4. We're going to have a drop-in 4. Both birdies, so that's not too bad.
Nope, definitely not bad here. That's going to put us at 12. Are they at 12?
Yep.
Yeah. So going into the last hole of the day, 12's not a bad score. We'd like to get this one. This is a goofy little hole because it looks like it's an easy birdie, but if you're a foot to the right of the basket, you are way down the hill.
I don't know why I could not throw that left. There's something about that tree line. I just threw right down through there.
That slipped right out of my hand, but I'm not going to put that in my top 3 worst flicks of the day.
No, definitely not. It actually flew for a while and sort of towards the basket.
So my top 3 flicks are going to stand. Here he is throwing that drone again. He likes that disc a lot, but he kind of did what I did, just a little longer. But you see, we're all not good at all. We're way down the hill.
So Frank is the only one left with a chance to have a decent drive, and
He doesn't. He does not have a decent drive.
Nobody really had a good drive on this hole.
He throws that beadless steady again. I mean, I guess in no trees, that probably would have been really good because that disc is really flippy now. But
So they're probably 60 out right here, up a hill. Boom. What a putt. That was an outstanding putt to end the round on.
yeah, that's going to be... I mean, that's just a really good putt.
And after watching him make it, we were 10 feet inside of them. I had tons of confidence and didn't even draw metal.
Yeah. Not your best. But I probably shouldn't say anything.
Well, you can talk until we see this putt right here.
Their putt is going to be the putt that puts them on the lead card.
Now you can't say anything.
Yeah, that was a terrible putt by me. Good thing you have this drop in.
Yeah, I hit all these bullseye putts.
Yeah, that's his 2 bullseye putts he missed. He made a lot of 30-footers and maybe some longer ones, but he missed 2 bullseye. But
I was hungry.
yeah, it was time to go eat at this point. So they're going to end at 13, and we're going to end at 12. That decent round. They're going to be on the lead card. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to stay tuned for the second round of this tournament. Be sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for my next video.
Y'all be good.